My heart's on fire. Come to me wild and wild. It can't be wrong. Take my heart and make it strong. You're simply the best. Better than all the rest. Better than anyone. Anyone I ever met. Each time you leave me, I start losing control. Walking away with my heart and soul. I can feel you even when I'm alone. Oh, baby, and now let go. Oh, you're the best.
Hi, this is Gary Freedman, and welcome to the 4th episode of the Winfield Cup Magic Memories. By the end of today's show, we'll reach the halfway mark in our quest to record 200 special events since the Winfield Cup was born in 1982. Over the next half hour, you'll see plenty of thrills and spills from over a decade of dramatic football, starting now with a moment that's very special in my career, as British superstar Ellery Hanley steers the Balmain Tigers to the club's first grand final in nearly 20 years.
Freeman's going to score. That's the ball game. Freeman underneath the black dot has put Balmain into the semi-final on Saturday against Manly. You'll see all the grades covered. Anything that moves, we'll have it covered for you. Grand final day here. Here's Hanley. Hanley's gone straight through. He's going to score on his own, and a well-deserved try to Ellery Hanley, and that will be the ball game as far as Balmain and Manly is concerned. Now here's Edmed, barging straight ahead and got to the quarter line. Steve Edmed, great run by the big fella. The Tigers on the attack. Freeman gives it to Hanley. Hanley got away from Jackson. The dummy from Hanley. He's 10 metres out. Hanley's going to score for the Tigers. Ellery Hanley. As Pearce, well, he's not exhausted. Look, he can still get up a good run.
That's the sort of run, if you're the skipper of the side, that everyone rallies and goes again.
Elias picked up by Surinam. Pass back inside for Brooks. He's got support from Neil. Neil's into the clear. Pushed off O'Connor. Hanley's got the football. Hanley's going to score, I think. Hanley's there. The Tigers are in.
As he takes the team into his 5th grand final. Elias kicks into touch. The crowd's counting us down as Coleman puts his foot over the line. There won't be enough time for the scrum. The Tigers are in the Winfield Cup grand final of '88. What a performance. We're going to win the cup, says the sign. And the flags fly high for another remarkable display.
If you're a St George supporter, you might prefer to cover your eyes and ears for a minute while we take a look at one of the most complete demolition jobs in the Winfield Cup history. Cliff Lyons was at his magical best as the Seagulls ran riot against a side that had competed in the grand finals of the previous 2 seasons. The Dragons left Brookvale Oval that afternoon, licking their wounds after the heaviest defeat in the club's proud 73-year history.
Carroll, Menzies stands up one, has his arm free, offloads there to back inside to Carroll. This is Roberts again, getting him very, very involved today. Tuvey on there to Menzies. Oh, I thought the referee might have a go at tackling him there, because there certainly weren't any St George defenders. And doing as they please here this afternoon. Bleak afternoon for the Dragons. Dunford offloads there to O'Donnell. Back to Lyons now. Sends the ball back inside there to Jeff Tuvey. On there to Steve Menzies. Menzies racing away for another Manly try. O'Donnell gives it from Lyons, running left to right. A nice angle. Shows it one way. Gives it back in there to Tuvey. Tuvey onto Ridge, backing up. Ridge salutes the Manly crowd and puts it down underneath the sticks for another Manly try. Where's it all going to end? I bet St George supporters are asking that question as Ridge sends Terry Hill away. Terry Hill into the corner and he scored again.
The boot is on the other foot for Manly this time, as we recall the spectacular debut of the Brisbane Broncos, only missing the top 5 in the first 2 seasons. Brisbane finally reached the semi-finals in 1990, but they were stopped 1 game shy of the grand final by a team that could do no wrong on the day. Canberra was simply awesome in the preliminary final, recording a 32-4 flogging of the Broncos.
Straight at the corner.
Coyne, Meninga. Meninga second. They won't stop him. Too big, too strong, and too classy. Meninga's having a field day here in the stadium.
At the halfway mark. Now O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan's gone through. O'Sullivan up towards the 22. Meninga's winning. Getting that doesn't leave Meninga. Beautiful pass out to his winger Martin. And the Raiders are in again.
Barnwell stretching it. Bell. Bell's got plenty of pace. He's got a mile of pace and support. Should be a try. Carey under the post. Another brilliant try from Canberra. What a stamp they put on this final of 1990 and served out the warning to the Penrith Panthers.
The Raiders went on to nudge out Penrith in the 1990 grand final, with halfback Ricky Stewart snaring man of the match honours in that triumph. 2 years earlier, Stewart made an instant impression after converting from rugby union, where he scored 2 tries in his first grade debut. Canberra joined the premiership in 1982, along with Illawarra, but while the Raiders swiftly grew into one of the Winfield Cup's glamour clubs, Illawarra was slow to engage in success. By the time that Canberra had collected 2 premierships, the Steelers were still seeking their first semi-final berth. However, their 10-year wait was well rewarded with the defeat of St George.
Nowhere. Mackendo under the posts. They continue to unload. The Saints are not putting them down. Cross will have to hurry. Dragged in Rodwell. What a chance here. Mackendo will grab a double. Here comes Goulet. Doesn't matter. Now they have a big backline set.
And they've got a huge overlap if they use it.
Waddell. Some decoy runners. Neil. Great charging run from McGregor. They've got it. That might be it. Midway through the second half, they get a stunner. Beautiful set piece. The crowd counts down for a bit of Steelers Rugby League history. They go ahead next week to take on the Broncos. But St George are left pondering what might have been.
Putting together highlights from this next segment was a real challenge, I can tell you, because it concerns a strange piece of rugby league history in 1982. The code that built its principles on attacking skills and ball movement finally swallowed what most people would have thought impossible. Newtown and Canterbury played 80 minutes of football without scoring a single point, thereby creating the first scoreless match since the competition began back in 1908.
This game, with Rhoda Page and rugby league's history so boring, the tension mounted as it became a possibility that neither team, for the first time in the game's history, was going to score a point.
A little over 12 months after that quirk of history at Henson, the Jets slid from the Winfield Cup existence. Although no one who attended Newtown's final outing for 1983 had any inkling at that time it would be the swan song for one of the league's foundation clubs. The Bluebags, as they were also known, had intended to set up shop at Campbelltown in 1984. However, due to financial problems, the Jets never took up flight again, and so their 9-6 defeat of Canberra in the last round of 83 can be recalled as a fitting farewell to a club that did much to get the show on the road in 1908. It's a common occurrence for a player to score 2 or 3 tries in a match these days, but for someone to grab 5 tries in one game is an incredible achievement. In 1991, Illawarra State of Origin flanker Alan Mackendo established a new record for his club when he notched 5 meat pies as the Steelers hammered the hapless Gold Coast, 46 points to 4.
Without Lewis, a second-half breeze went unused by the Gold Coast, Illawarra scoring after 4 minutes to continue a golden afternoon for Alan Mackendo.
They're going all the way with Peacock across. Mackendo scores.
The Spaghetti twins, Piccinelli and Schiffoletti, were in everything as the Steelers fed Mackendo a club record 5 tries.
What a day he's having.
Speaking of tries, you wouldn't see any better than the Bobby Dazzler that Eastern Suburbs turned on at the old Sydney Sports Ground against Manly in 1982.
He sends it on there to Ron Gitto. Offloads to Jeff Masterman. Masterman now to Barkley. Barkley, he's got Bailstead on the outside. Back inside to Barkley. Oh, well taken by Barkley. This is Warnocky now. On there to Hastings. Hastings, he doesn't know where to go, but he's found support in Barkley. Links up with Harvey. Oh, brilliantly picked up on there to Horry Hastings. This is Dave Brown running like a three-quarter. Dummies, fends off defence, gives it on there to Les Cleal. The ball's been touched, they get 6 to go. They probably won't need it though as Rocky Laurie sends Ian Schubert in for a magic Eastern Suburbs try.
In the catalogue of great games in the Winfield Cup history, this clash between Balmain and Canterbury in 1985 deserves a prominent billing. A big Leichhardt Oval crowd was captivated by a non-stop match that swung from one end to the other.
Tries to play it, but he's put on the ground by Pearce. That probably should have brought a penalty, but Tunks, he has scored. 7 metres out, the fans calling for Balmain. Oh, Gary Jack, he's over. It's a try.
They can read it.
Elias across to Gale. A long ball. Intercepted. It'll be a try. It'll be a try, I think. He's running out of ground. Gale's going to get him. Gale, I think, is going to get him now. Peter Mortimer scores. Roman. Mullane inside the 22. Peter Mortimer inside to his brother Steve, and Steve is over the line. But what's the touch judge saying? Gale. Oh, Gale's gone into an opening. He kicks ahead. Gale and Potter, a race for the ball. Gale's going to score. Yes! Gale has scored. As many weeks. He's missed it. Well, there you go. You never can tell.
Unbelievable, the Tigers and the Bulldogs managed to reproduce the magic when they met in the semi-finals 5 months later. It was big-time footy at its demanding best, which forced the two sides into extra time before Canterbury snatched a late victory.
Now it's Russell Gardner high flying inside the 22. Outside for Gary Schofield. He's picked up a try. Mortimer sweeping it back to the blind side for Hagan. Hagan, good football. Here's Michael Potter. Inside. Here come the Bulldogs. From Billy Johnson, it's gone to Stevie Mortimer. Back for Terry Lamb. And Canterbury scores. 75-metre try. Frank Stanton has come down onto the playing area. Played back now to Elias and away for Gary Schofield. Shapes the kick, passes to Humphrey. He backs him up and now it's a forward pass. There it is, the screen telling the fans here at the cricket ground and the replay, if required. Now it's Potter. Farah to the halfway line. Got rid of Ross Conlon. He's got support on the inside. He's still going. Andrew Farah scores. Andrew Farah scores for Canterbury Bankstown. And Frank Stanton heads for the dressing rooms. Look at the jubilation with these Canterbury players.
In the last episode of the Winfield Cup Magic Memories, we saw how the Eels created another miraculous escape to come from 22-0 down against Canberra and win 30-22 in the early rounds of 87. Well, a few weeks later, Parramatta made another great escape on the back of a sensational field goal from second rower John Muggleton.
The Dragons now led 12-0. St George's third try was the best of the match. Johnston accelerated away. Graham Wynn came up on the inside before passing the ball back to Johnston. That made the score 16-8. A clever flick pass from Sterling saw the Eels come back with Lydner's try converted. Two more penalties from the boot of Muggleton in the second half finally put the Eels ahead 2016. In the closing minutes, St George launched attacking raids. The pressure told with Selby bulldozing his way over to level the scores. Then, with just seconds remaining, John Muggleton attempted a field goal. Referee Stone rules a goal. The St George player stands stunned by the loss while Parramatta go away with 2 valuable competition points.
If there's one thing that a footballer wants to avoid, it's being sent from the field and having to face the judiciary. Being suspended is not only embarrassing and frustrating, but can also hit you hard in the hip pocket. One Saturday night at Celtic's Field in 1994 came a controversial incident which saw referee Bill Harrigan tell my Penrith coach Phil Gould to find another place to sit. I never thought I'd see the day when a coach would receive his marching orders from the whistleblower.
Penalty in the game. Now, what's Bill Harrigan up to here? He's waving time off. He's pointing to someone. Now, what's he doing? He's talking to coach Phil Gould. Don't tell me he sent Phil Gould off. I don't think I've ever seen this. The referee is sending the Penrith coach off. Oh, so I tell you what, this will be headlines for the next week. Gould laughs, a wry smile.
Controversy was also the order of the afternoon when Manly did battle with South Sydney on Anzac Day in 1988. It was a spiteful match. The Rapidos run out convincing winners by 28 points to 14, yet came away with nothing to show from the efforts due to a breach in the rule regarding player replacements. With just 6 minutes remaining and the game wrapped up, South sent on their talented young fullback Scott Wilson, only to discover the hard way that under the laws as they stood back then, President's Cup players weren't permitted to play in a higher grade on the same day, and so they had their 2 competition points deducted.
And was pulled down just short by Owen Cunningham. Les Davidson then made a nicely timed pass and Blake was there again for the try. At 16-2, Manly were in deep strife, but then Daly and McKinnon combined. The ball then went to Gately and Cunningham, and finally, Hasler had too much pace. It might have turned the match had South not replied immediately. Maven got around lines and then made a lucky pass inside to Longbottom. The replacement blunder came late in the match. Coach George Piggins sent classy under-21 player Scott Wilson onto the field. He had a try disallowed. The league has the power to deny Souths the points, but if they lose them, they don't go to Manly.
From the controversial, we go to the incredible. As Brisbane engages in a try feast with Cronulla, the Sharks were expected to be easy prey for the Broncos at ANZ Stadium, especially when they had a player sent off in the opening minutes. However, the visitors rolled up their sleeves and forged an admirable second-half performance that saw them go within a whisker of a giant upset. Cronulla's 34 points created a record for the most points scored by a losing side in the Premiership's long history.
At this stage, Langer, long one to Reynolds, strolls out of the tackle, coming in from Quinn, and he's in for another one. Salmon from dummy half, outside to Lee. Lee got it round the corner, then to Wendinghausen, on it goes to Healy. Healy has a bit of a run, he's found a gap man, he's over underneath the post. All over, so full time, the Broncos scrape away here, 38 to 34, after they led by 30 points to 10 at the half-time break.
For many years, North Sydney was known as the club that could find a way to lose when victory seemed imminent. But the terrible tendency has certainly changed in recent years, as was shown on a winter's afternoon in 1993 when the Bears turned a 70-0 deficit into a stunning 18-17 eclipse of Canterbury, thanks to an 8-point try in the closing stages.
Has he been flattened after scoring the try? It could be an 8-point try, this one.
Now he's marking the spot. This is going to be an 8-pointer. This crowd is absolutely stunned by the fight back. Makepeace, he can't buy a kick. Now he goes back in front of the uprights for the 8-point attempt. Well, I wonder how his confidence is, Craig Makepeace. He hasn't been able to kick a goal from 4 or 5 attempts. This one he gets though from right in front. The Bears are going to get off the hook and win this one. The Bears rejoice. They've been in death row for 75 minutes and suddenly they've been granted their freedom.
1989 will always be remembered as a very special year in Canberra Raider territory, as they claimed their maiden first grade title at the expense of my Balmain outfit. However, one winter's afternoon of woe almost cost the Green Machine a ticket to the playoffs when they were humbled 25-22 by Salad Dwellers Western Suburbs in the season's biggest upset.
Well and truly in this game. Belcher made sure of that. Mackay did the rest.
And Western Suburbs are going to hit the front.
Only Meninga's boot kept the home team in touch. At 22 all, Mackay had this for West's third win of the season.
Is it between the posts?
Since joining the Winfield Cup in 1988, there's been little for the Gold Coast to celebrate, with 3 consecutive wooden spoons making life tough on the holiday strip. So let's recall a rare golden moment for the club as they give Manly Ringa 29-6 thrashing in 1989.
With Dale Shearer off the field with a groin injury, Manly had no response, leaving the Giants unbeaten in 4 matches.
In 1982, a long and depressing wait ended for die-hard North Sydney supporters when the club reached the first grade semi-finals for the first time since 1965. It looked as though the Bears' patience might be rewarded when they took an early lead. However, it turned out to be a false promise, with Northside neighbours Manly Ringa dominating the scoreboard for the rest of the day to clean up the major preliminary semi-final 26-3. Unfortunately for Norths, they were ejected from the race from the Winfield Cup a week later when Eastern Suburbs beat them 12-10.
10-3, half-time score. 10 minutes into the second half, Phil Blake puts up the bomb. Cox gets in Kelly's road, the fullback, as he goes for it. Mike Blake scrambles for the ball, puts it down, 33-minute mark, and Gerard puts this one through. Watch him go. Big game from Jethro Toll today. Gerard lines up Rebo, backs inside. Rebo positioned himself beautifully, puts the good pass away to Phil Blake. On to brother Mike Blake, try, 21 points to 3. 38-minute mark, through a weak tackle here by McKinnon. Phil Blake goes in for the try, the last try of the match. Full-time score, Manly wins 26 points to 3.
Manly went on to finish as runners-up in 1982 and also had to make do with second prize 12 months later before the Winfield Cup finally came to Brookvale in 1987. The Seagulls submitted some magnificent displays of attacking football en route to their success in 87. And they also had the odd narrow escape, like this game against Western Suburbs, which saw the home side come from 25-12 down to get up on the bell.
Les White swooped on a loose pass before sending Ian Naden on his way. The Magpies led 17-10 at half-time after Peter Sheehan kicked and won the race for the ball. Most would have thought that Manly would score first in the second half, but Cocker gratefully accepted Paul Vorton's pass. The Sea Eagles started their comeback midway through the second half when Stuart Davis crossed out wide. Manly was still behind when Cliff Lyons scored shortly afterwards, setting the scene for a cliff-hanging finish. With only seconds on the clock, the Sea Eagles snatched victory through Kevin Ward and David Ronson. By beating Western Suburbs, the Sea Eagles stay at the top of the Winfield Cup.
Apart from the pride of winning and the importance of doing the best you possibly can, there aren't many better sources of motivation for an athlete than revenge, and we're about to show you 2 forms of it. The first type of revenge comes from a club level, where Cronulla really gave it to Eastern Suburbs in the early rounds of 1984. The Sharks were devastated in the off-season when 4 top players in Kurt and Dane Sorensen, Roland Beckett and Steve Hardy were poached by the Roosters. However, when the 2 clubs met for the first time after those defections, Cronulla walked away with a huge grin of satisfaction after blitzing the Bondi Burglars 26-4.
He wants it, there's a try coming up as there, he's over. Another Cronulla Sullivan try.
The other form of revenge is a personal one, and I guess you could say that I enjoyed my return to Leichhardt Oval in 1992 as a player in new colours. 1991 certainly wasn't the happiest year of my life, as I spent much of it on the outer at Balmain, so it was satisfying to come up trumps in my first meeting with old friends.
So it's only a couple of metres out over the top of goal. Freeman, they open up. Freeman going for the lays, close and he reaches out. Referee
solo effort against his old club.
Winfield Cup Magic Memories marches on to 93 now to see how the Dragons dominated the major semi-final against Canterbury, who are minor premiers. The Saints qualify for their second successful grand final with great precision and polish.
He puts it down. Mark Coyne, fair dinkum, he's Houdini. Goldthorpe. Scott Wilson a test again. Oh, he's made a meal of it. Here's a try. This is a try. Gordon Tellis.
14-0, you think it'd be hard for them to come back from here. Gavin Hill disagrees with that decision.
Now Coyne, Peter, puts his foot down, runs to the winger, draws him and puts Walford on a saloon passage in to score another try. Oh, how easy. 27-12, the crowd are about to take over.
The last port of call on the special review of some of the modern league's finest moments takes us to the Sydney Cricket Ground on Grand Final Day 1986, where deadly rivals